and then he probably popped out an A. Can you imagine that? Can you put yourself there in 18 something? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about high A altissimo fingerings on alto saxophone. These are in no particular order. I've just kind of used fingerings that I know that are kind of weird, and then I saved all the best ones for last, so stay tuned. First fingering on our list is going to be X4 TC. Okay? Now this is a very strange fingering. You're thinking, why would I even think to do that? Well, there are some very specific pieces in the classical saxophone repertoire where this fingering might come in handy, coming from a G, if you get my meaning. It's not very practical. It's really only for one use, trilling from G to A, okay? And then from a tuning standpoint, as you could tell, it was quite sharp. And then on a reliability standpoint, I wonder if I can hit one of those cold. It's not great. I thought that was going to go a lot worse. Surprised me. Next on our list is the French fingering. 1, 3, and TC. I was taught this fingering when I was still playing a Selmer. It does not work on a Selmer. If it works for you, let me know. It didn't work for me. When I started playing a Yamaha, I started to think like, oh, maybe this could work. So anyway, from a practicality standpoint, this is a 9+ because look at this. This is like related to so many different fingerings. I have so many fingers at my disposal. The pitch is quite flat. As you Selmer boys will, boys and girls, let's be real, men and women as well, will discover the pitch is quite flat on this fingering. Reliability, it's pretty easy to make it speak, so I'm going to give that thing an 8. Next on our list is another French classic. 1, 2, 3, TC, TF. So this builds on the previous fingering, and it's a little bit sharper, a little bit more stable, a little bit of everything, just way better. So from a practical standpoint, because so much of my right hand is taken up, I gave it a 5. Pitch is pretty neutral. It's like pretty in there. Not a bad fingering at all. Reliability, I'm going to give this thing a 9+. Even my young students can play this fingering and play a high A. Next is a little fingering I invented, I believe. Tell me if I'm wrong. And I did this by kind of investigating overtones on different low notes to find cousins of this A fingering. Let's just put it that way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, TC, and you have optional E flat or C depending on the tuning. What's good about this fingering? Practically speaking, it's pretty good. It's like basically fingering a D, and then not a lot of the sides of your hands are taken up. The pitch is quite neutral. It's neither sharp nor flat. We might call that in tune, but again, it's all relative. Reliability. This one has a learning curve. You are not used to making A speak like this, I promise. So try it out, mess around. It only gets a 5 on the reliability scale. Next on the list is 2 and 3, and then you have optional TA or G sharp. As far as pitch, this one can be either. It can either be neutral, it can be a little sharp, or it can be a little bit flat. It just really depends on what you add to it. So from flattest to sharpest, here we go. Practically speaking, this is a 9++. Because nothing in this world is perfect except my children. Reliability, 5. This one is really hard to make speak. And then some of the other fingerings that you add, especially TA, kind of clarify the partial, make it a little bit easier to speak. Next, triangle fingerings. Remember, triangle fingerings form a triangle between TA, TC, and 4, like this. And that makes it so you have available to you all these different altissimo fingerings. Practically speaking, this A gets an 8. It's like pretty okay. Triangle, especially since it belongs to the triangle family, you may have experience with this fingering and know certain ways to get to it. I rely on it less and less, but I do like this fingering. Pitch, I would call it neutral to sharp. Really depends on your setup and your approach. Reliability, 8+. It's not bad. It speaks really clearly. You know, shout out to Tim McAllister and his Crane Saxophone Studio website back in the day, like, I want to say like 99 or 2000, when I like discovered these fingerings on his website, I should say. Anyway, just a stroll down memory lane. That was the year before I went to Interlaken and 1, met my wife, 2, studied with Tim. So very cool. Last on the list is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, optional, low C, low B flat. I've talked about this fingering before. This is the classic. This is the ancient fingering. Probably when Adolphe Sax was at the Paris Conservatory, first learning altissimo because of his experience with other woodwind instruments, he was like, oh, what if I just lift my first finger? And then he probably popped out an A. Can you imagine that? Can you put yourself there in 18 something? From the practical side, 9+, okay? You can't get much more practical than just lifting your first finger while fingering, middle D, right? Pitch, quite sharp, extensively, mind-bogglingly sharp. Works really well on jazz setups, so don't listen to me, okay? This is classical guy McGee over here. So if you like it and it works well for your jazz setup, you do you. I'm not going to stop you. Reliability, once you kind of get over the learning curve of like what to do with your jaw, what to do with your oral cavity, what to do with your voicing, then it becomes an 8. Very high score. Here's this fingering. C and B flat. Not my favorite. And so that concludes all the fingerings I know for A in the altissimo. If you liked some of these fingerings, please let me know by commenting down below. Like, share, subscribe, smash that like button, destroy the subscribe button, and share this video with your friends. We can all play high A in tune together. I believe in us. See you next time.